Hi, I'm BryCoxWORKSHOPS.com. I want to give you a little secret of creativity. And the secret of creativity is elimination. In other words, sometimes I use it when I talk about in my longer creativity course is the box. And it's thinking inside the box. That's my restriction. A lot of times I think creativity is having no restriction. But really, if you really want to open up your brain to creativity, it means giving yourself limitations, eliminating 99%, focusing on 1%, and then that 1% is going to expand and give you so many options. So sometimes it may mean I got a wedding, and the wedding's in a terrible location, and maybe the bride's dress doesn't fit right, and maybe their moods are, everyone's kind of on each other, and the parents are butting heads, and maybe the sun's in the wrong place. It's my job as a photographer to make all those things look amazing. And if we think negatively, and I go, why can't I get the good wedding? Then I'm not going to shoot as well. Instead of I go, I'm glad they called me because I'm the one that can solve this problem. These are my limitations. I'm going to work within those limitations, and I'm going to create something great within that box, my creativity box. It's not thinking outside the box, it's actually thinking inside the box. There's my box, that's my limitations. Now I have to be creative inside that, and I am going to be far more creative by having some limitations. So let me give you an example. When I was very young and I was taking photography in high school, back then we shot film. This was long before digital, and we would roll our own rolls of film. You'd go into the darkroom, you had this big industrial roll of film, and you would make your own little roll of film of about 30-ish or so exposures. Hopefully you get 35, 36, but maybe it's only 30. Snip it, put it in your camera, start it. And then you would have an hour to go out and shoot. It could be anything. You come back, develop that roll of film, and then make proof sheets, pick out some favorites, print them, and then enter them. And then every single class, we would have a contest, right? And the winner gets a can of pop. And I almost always won the can of pop. And one lesson I learned early is I remember I went out one time and I couldn't think of anything to shoot. And I was walking around for like 45 minutes and I was getting really frustrated because there was nothing beautiful enough to photograph. And I was like, I don't have time now. If I even got in my car and drove, I would not have time to get enough pictures. So I went back, kind of disappointed, and the teacher goes, how'd you do? And I go, I haven't shot anything. There's nothing out there to shoot. And this was a good lesson. He's like, I want you to focus on one thing and shoot all 30 exposures of that one thing. And he goes, what did you drive today to school? I go, my motorcycle. He's like, I want you to go out and photograph your motorcycle 30 different ways and use up that roll of film. Maybe it's close-up, maybe it's just the sprockets, maybe it's your reflection in the gas tank, maybe whatever. I want you to think of 30 ways to photograph line, shape, detail, the whole bike, the shadow, whatever. Just think of 30 ways. And just me thinking about it, I'm already coming up with ideas. So I go, okay. But in my mind, back then, I was like, how am I going to think of 30? And that was the idea. Zoom in, zoom out, look around. That's my box. So what that did is elimination, the power of elimination for creativity. Instead of having 99% of the world, I focus in on 1%, the motorcycle. And now I'm going to shoot 30 frames on just the motorcycle and maybe close up. Maybe I'm going to shoot 30 frames of just a tire, right? And the next thing you know, within 10 minutes, I was done. I had shot everything. I go to wind, the camera's locked, and I go, I'm done. And I go, but I have more ideas. The ideas are now coming. So I wind the film out. I go back to him. He goes, how did you do? And I go, yeah, I've got more ideas still. He's like, great, go start developing and printing. So then the next step is, now let's say we're shooting digital. We photograph something. We eliminate 99% of the world to focus on the thing that we're interested in. And we try maybe a few angles or something. And now we open them up on the computer and we look at the proofs. Just like in the old days, we'd make a proof sheet. And you look at them. And what you're looking for what stands out to you visually. And you're eliminating, again, like 99% of them. And you go, that one, that one, that one, that one. Those are the ones I want to focus in on. So then you open those up. And part of editing a photo, like in Photoshop, or darkroom, if you want to think of a darkroom, but in Photoshop, part of editing a photo is elimination again, eliminating distractions. It would be better if I just cropped in a little bit. Of course, I cropped as much as I could in the camera, but I'm still locked into this aspect ratio. Maybe if I just cropped in along the side and made it square, it's going to be better. If I just come in off the top, cut whatever that is that's distracting, right? Focus the eye in, eliminate anything that's distracting the eye. Elimination from all the images to the few, eliminating those few by cropping, darkening, lightening, retouching out anything that's distracting, elimination down to those few things. And now you end up with something that's absolutely fantastic. So if you aren't feeling creative, right? Come to one of my courses. We got full week-long courses like at Texas School, West Coast School. I do 2 big ones a year. But I also have a full creativity course here on my website and lots of other courses, deep dive for photographers. But one big secret is think about elimination. If you feel locked in, you're like, man, I got a wedding in the wrong place, or the sun's in the wrong place for this photo shoot. The question you need to ask yourself is, how can I rock this? How can I turn this around and turn this problem into a challenge where my brain can then think creatively to solve this problem in a unique way, something where you are particularly skilled because you're a creative thinker. How can I rock this and make it look amazing? And if you feel like you're amazing, you get technique, you get art, and maybe you've been doing this for a long time and you're losing kind of the buzz or the excitement of photography, give yourself restrictions, right? I know a lot of photographers say, but I only shoot at 5 and 6 p.m. or something because that's when the sun's amazing. It's like, well, maybe what you need to do is learn lighting so I can shoot at noon or 1. Or maybe that's the only time to shoot, or I can shoot in the rain, or I can shoot in direct sun or the desert sun or with no shade, or I can shoot a wedding in the middle of something and get the background to look amazing. So give yourself challenges. If you can't shoot in the daytime, learn more, take some of my courses, right? Learn the techniques, but give yourself challenges. What's something that's hard for you? Give yourself a challenge. Eliminate the rest of the world and focus in on that one thing and make that one thing a strength. And as you build your strengths, and maybe the creativity starts to lack, find another challenge. Give yourself a new challenge. Learn another thing about lighting. Learn, change your lens, change your angle, change something. Look at the world in a nice, different, new way. There you go. It's a good tip. If you want more, of course, check out my full courses and everything else at my website, BryCoxWORKSHOPS.com. All right, you guys. Until next time, America.